Our next important topic in modern physics is nuclear physics and radioactivity. And those who are watching, please do remember that whatever you are studying is exactly similar to it is exactly similar to okay. I can't use both words exactly similar, but it is similar to nuclear chemistry, whatever you are studying. Okay, and in chemistry, okay, in ionic equilibrium, chemical kinetics, and all other places, you will be studying this basic idea of radioactivity as first order reaction. So, whatever you are going to learn is same, okay, successive disintegrations, everything it will be similar, okay. So, it is very important for exam point of view because if you lose questions on this aspect in physics, automatically in chemistry also the question will go wrong, okay. Only extra part in chemistry is you are supposed to write reaction, that's all. Chemistry extra part is reaction, chemical reaction, but physics sense everything is same, okay. Now in this lecture I will cover, okay, basic what is your nucleus, I will tell you, okay. Now if you observe your modern physics unit, in modern physics unit what is that we have seen, in the first part we have seen your dual nature of matter and radiation, okay. So in this chapter we'll talk of de Broglie's waves, wave, wave particle duality and photoelectric effect quantum theory. And if you take your second chapter, it is your Bohr's atom. Now, while studying Bohr's atom, okay, we did not worry about nucleus, what is inside the nucleus, okay, or nucleus content, okay. So we told that inside the nucleus there will be some protons and electrons will be revolving around the nucleus. Only this much is covered in the Bohr's atom. Then followed by, in Bohr's atom you have seen radiation when excitation and de-excitation is occurring. Based on that de-excitation you have tried to explain or justify X-rays chapter, okay. So in modern physics the sequence of chapters that you are learn is, that you have to learn is 1 2 3, and your fourth chapter is your nuclear physics. Now out of this, okay, previously, there were minimum 3 to 4 questions, sometimes there were even 5 questions. Recent times he is asking 2 to 4 questions recently. Now, this year, because they are giving 10 questions choice, there is a possibility of question coming from anywhere. Now, this unit, please do not leave for choice, okay, because this Bohr's atom and X-rays, photoelectric effect, this part you will study in atomic structure. First two, even X-rays you will study in atomic structure unit, and then this you will study in nuclear chemistry. So if you are learning physics content of this properly, that means indirectly you are revising chemistry as well. So that is why it is very easy and important chapter, okay. Now, so I have told you the context. Now let us enter into the topic without wasting our time. So first thing that you are supposed to study is your nucleus. Now, with what you have learnt in schooling and previous topics, by this time you must have understood that nucleus is some kind of mass that is present inside the atom. Electrons are assumed to be revolving around the nucleus. Okay, so this you have seen. Now, this is your outline. But now we will study, okay, our focus will be on nucleus. So, first thing is, okay, first thing that you are supposed to understand is your nuclear structure. So your nuclear structure, in the sense what it contains, I'll tell you. Okay, now initially people thought, okay, there are only protons and neutrons, but later, okay, there are other particles where that are identified. Okay, so mesons, neutrinos, okay, neutrinos, mesons, all other sub other etc 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 I'll keep. Okay, it's not that nucleus consists of only protons and neutrons. For our JEE syllabus, maximum assumption, we will not talk of neutrinos or mesons, nothing, we will not talk of this, but they are also there according to modern physics. Okay, what you are calling as modern physics is not actually modern, it is an old one. Okay, so somewhere in the 19th and 20th centuries starting content. Okay, we are not exactly doing the advanced content. Okay, so this is outdated, but still it is important. Okay, like how nowadays people are studying mechanical engineering, most of the content that you study in mechanical engineering is outdated. Latest machines are more advanced, but still we will be working with the same old machines, right? So same thing. So your nuclear structure also, what we are studying, there it is there, but much more has been discovered. Okay, so now first, okay, we'll talk of nucleus. Okay, now before I start, okay, if I use the words and terms, you should know this. So our assumption is that our nucleus will consist of mostly these two, protons and neutrons. Okay, although other particles are there. Now this proton mass, you have to remember, it is 1.6726 into 10 power minus 26 kg. Okay, and neutron mass is 1.6749 into 10 power minus 27 kg. And very important thing is, this neutron is slightly heavier than proton. Okay, now in the previous chapters we did not worry much about the neutron and proton mass. In the calculations also, we have assumed that both are having equal mass, but in this chapter please do not do it. Okay, later you will be getting something called as mass defect, so lot of things will change. Okay, so and another important thing is, okay, neutron contains no charge, there is no charge to the neutron. And if you take the proton, proton is positively charged nucleus. Okay, proton is positively charged, and this charge is already known to you. Okay, how much is the charge? 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. Okay, now because the context has come, okay, so proton, it is positively charged. Okay, its charge is plus E. Okay, plus E, which is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. Now if you take similarly electron, okay, because whenever you remove an electron, it becomes positively charged, an atom becomes positively charged. So you can actually only remove electrons, except in nuclear reactions, everywhere only electron can be removed. So because the context has come, your mass of electron, you can substitute it as 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 kg. Okay, for the electron. And your charge, if you take your charge of electron is minus E, that is minus 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. And then another important this thing is your alpha particle. Alpha particle will have charge is plus 2E, and your mass of alpha particle is 4 times mass of proton. Okay, so this basic information you just keep in mind. Okay, so we are assuming that your nucleus, what it contains is protons and neutrons. Okay, and electrons are revolving. And what is this alpha particle and all, I will tell you, don't worry. But first, okay, nuclear structure is this. Okay, now next, Hope you have taken the screenshot. I'll continue further. Now okay, next is representation of nucleus. Next idea is representation of nucleus. Now many people will commonly misunderstand the literature that is actually present in the books. Okay, so what is that misunderstanding? I'll tell you. Now, if you take for example 6C12, or for example, if I am giving you some 7N14 or 16, something like this, people think this as carbon atom. But the truth is, it is not atom. Okay, whenever you write, okay, right, whenever you write, okay, whenever you write your symbol of nucleus, it will be ZXA like this. Okay, this is what symbol of nucleus, not atom. Symbol of nucleus, not atom. So now I have told you your nucleus mostly consists of protons and neutrons. That is what you are assuming, even though other things are there. Now in this Z, okay, this denominator is called as atomic number. Okay, the symbols often you will get confused. Okay, Z is atomic number and A is mass number. Z is atomic number and A is mass number. Okay, now what is this atomic number, what is this mass number, let me tell you. Okay, so this is your representation of nucleus, ZXA. Okay, this is not atom, it is nucleus. Any number that I am writing with a symbol, it is nuclear representation, not the atom representation. Now in this, okay, in this, if you take the atomic number, okay, if you take your atomic number Z, what it gives is, okay, it indicates the number of protons inside the nucleus, indicates number of protons inside nucleus. And if you take mass number, if you take your mass number is represented by symbol A. What it indicates is, it indicates number of, nucleons. Okay, nucleons in the sense protons plus neutrons. Okay, now if you want neutron number, obviously A minus Z will give you what? Number of neutrons. Okay, this will give you, A minus Z will give you number of neutrons. Okay, right? So this is your first basic information. Okay, right? And I forgot to give one more property here. Your mass of proton by mass of electron is 1840. Okay, this information also while solving the problems it will be helpful. Just take screenshot. MP by Me is 1840. Okay, right? So this is your nuclear. Now we have seen what are the different representations of different neutrons, protons, everything, nucleus representation. Now, okay, you will have, okay, terms used commonly, terms commonly used in nuclear physics. Okay, so you should not get confused, so that is why I'll give. First thing is you need to know what is the difference between isotopes, isobars, isotones. Okay, all these things you might have studied in chemistry, but still, those who do not like chemistry, for those people's sake, at least I need to do it. So you are writing ZXA as the nucleus. Now, isotope means, okay, isotope means it is same number of protons. Okay, same number of protons. That means same Z, different A. Okay, same number of protons means same atomic number but different mass number. Okay, so these are chemically similar. Okay, isotopes, they are chemically similar mostly. Okay, they'll behave in a similar manner. Okay, they are chemically similar. And another thing is, okay, they occupy same position in periodic table. Okay, they will occupy same position in periodic table. All this information I am giving extra but not required. Same position in periodic table. Now, what are the examples if you take means? Okay, so you can give examples for isotopes as 6C11, 6C12, 6C13, like this. Okay, whether that isotope is stable or not, it's a different story. Okay, this is more stable. Okay, right? So it's not that remaining ones are not there. Okay, if you take hydrogen, if you take, you will have 1H1. Okay, then 1H2, 1H3, tritium, deuterium, everything. Okay, so all these are isotopes. Now if you take isobars, okay, isobars, they have, okay, same number of nucleons, same number of nucleons, indirectly same A. Okay, right, same A, different Z, different Z, same A. Okay, and okay, they are taken together, I mean they are taken together in one nucleide. So if you take the example, just hold on, if you take an example of this, it will be, okay, you can write 6C16, 7N16, 8O16, like this. Okay, they will be stable or not, that depends. Okay, but in the periodic table mostly we have the habit of not mentioning this isobars or isotopes. Whatever is the stable one, that we will directly write off. And similarly isotones, if you take same number of neutrons, same number of neutrons, so it is A minus Z. Okay, so here examples if you take, okay, it is 6C14, 8O16, 9F17. In all this, here you have 8 neutrons, 8 neutrons, 8 neutrons. Okay, so this is one of the terms that are used commonly in nuclear physics. What is that? Isotope, isobar, and isotones. Okay, next, first, okay, this is your first term. Okay, second is your very important one, and we'll keep using this, that is your atomic mass unit, AMU, represented by small u. Okay, symbol, represented symbol is small u. Now if you take your mass of electron, for example, it is 9.11 into 10 power minus 31 kg. If you take your mass of proton, it is 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 kg. Mass of neutron also 1.67 into 10 power minus 27 kg. Some extra terms are there. I am not writing that decimals. Okay, exactly I have written previously. Okay, in fact I don't even remember. But my point is, if you take all these particles mass, okay, it is very big. It's not like, it is not 1 kg. Okay, it is 10 power minus 27, 10 power minus 31, they are very small, right? So this much small units, while writing the calculations, I mean, while writing the reactions and while doing the calculations, it's not so easy for you to actually, it's not so easy for you to actually represent into 10 power, something like that. Okay, because it is tough job for us writing the symbols again and again. So this problem, what they have done is, okay, scientists have come up with a beautiful idea, that is your atomic mass unit. That means it is very small unit. Okay, so your atomic mass unit is, one atomic mass unit is, 1 U is 1/12 of mass of one atom of 6C12. Okay, now in one atom, what is that you have? Okay, so almost 12 nucleons and then 12 electrons. Okay, so sorry, 6 electrons. Electrons mass, it is compared to the nucleus, it is small. So 1 by 12th of 12, it is almost close to 1. So this unit is, in terms of kg, it is 1.66056 into 10 power minus 27 kg. This is your one atomic mass unit. This is just definition. This is what you are supposed to remember. Remember very clearly, I am telling you, you are supposed to remember. Okay, atomic mass unit is this much, 1.66056 into 10 power minus 27 kg. Next is your nuclear radius. Your nuclear radius. Third common term that you are going to use repeatedly is your nuclear. Now, nuclear radius formula is given by R is equal to R naught times A power 1 by 3. Now, this is an empirical relation given by scientists. Okay, you don't need to worry how this formula has actually come, because if you do that, it will kill lot of your time. Okay, that's why I've told you in the start itself, what you are learning is a small portion. How much is required, that much I am giving. Don't worry about the derivation. So now, what is this means? Your radius of nucleus and your R naught. Okay, R naught is a proportionality constant. It is 1.11 into 10 power minus 15 meters, which is equal to 1.1 Fermi. Okay, 1 Fermi is 10 power minus 15. And what is this A? I told you, in ZXA, A is mass number. So obviously this is your mass number. Okay, right? Now your fourth important term is, okay, this is your third term. Okay, you must remember this. Based on this, there will be simple questions, so you should be able to do it. Okay, your fourth term is your nuclear density. Now your nuclear density is very high compared to ordinary matter. Okay, it is high, very high compared to ordinary matter. Okay, why it is very high means, if you take this nuclear density, okay, it will be in the order of 10 power 17 kg per meter cube. Okay, this is for nuclears. Okay, ordinary matter, if you take, ordinary matter is, if you take for example water. Okay, water density is how much? It is 1000 kg per meter cube, that is 10 power 3. If you take mercury, 13,600 kg per meter cube. That's why I am telling you. Okay, so ordinary matter is this, whereas your nuclear density is very big. Okay, so this is very high and most highest density possible. Okay, highest density possible is this. Now, how did you come to this means? Your rho is mass by volume. It is mass by volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube. that is equal to mass by 4 by 3 pi times. Your mass is, if A nucleons are there, A AMU, each nucleon mass is approximately, I am assuming, 1 atomic mass unit. Okay, approximation. Your R cube is R naught A power 1 by 3 whole cube. A will go off. What is it you are going to get is A times, okay, sorry, AMU by 4 by 3 pi times, it is R naught cube times A. A will go off. So 1 AMU is, we know that it is 1.66056 something into 10 power minus 27 whole divided by 4 by 3 times pi is 3.14. R is 1.1 in 1 into 10 power minus 15 whole cube. Simplify it, you will get close to 10 power 17. Okay, so some number into 10 power 17, so very huge. Okay, this indicates that it is very huge and big. Okay, right. Now this is your basic idea and basic terms. Okay, now nuclear spin and all we did not talk, but that is not required, that you will study in chemistry. Okay, only thing is remember that nuclear density is not, okay, nuclear density is independent of A. Okay, independent of A, that means it does not depend upon what type of element, whether you take a hydrogen nucleus or helium nucleus, lithium nucleus, carbon nucleus, boron nucleus, any nucleus you take, that density is same. Okay, right. Now next, okay, with this your basic terms introduction is done. Now you need to know some terms related to your nuclear force. Okay, so why we are studying this means to study nuclear forces. Okay, just hold on. Now our next idea is, okay, to study nuclear forces. Now why to study nuclear forces, I will tell you. Okay, now many people okay, they tried to explain structure of atom. Dalton gave some theory, Thomson gave some theory, then Rutherford, then Bohr. Okay, everybody gave their own explanation. But if you think logically, okay, if somebody is saying that there are protons inside the nucleus, obviously there will be repulsion. Because of the repulsion, there will be protons going away. But what is holding these protons together inside the nucleus? Okay, because if you take your basic forces, okay, one type of force is gravitational force, second type is electromagnetic force, third type is, we are writing it as strong and weak forces. Now what are the strong and weak forces, I will tell you. Now if you take your force between two protons to be electrostatic force, obviously there will be repulsion and these two are supposed to move away from each other, that will cause instability inside the nucleus. But at molecular level if you go, and at nuclear level if you go, okay, there is no much significant effect of electromagnetic force or gravitational force. Okay, this at this range gravitational force and electromagnetic force is not considerable, whereas we explain these kind of ideas with the help of strong and weak forces. Okay, so now we need to study what kind of force exists between these two protons. Okay, so if you consider electric force, what is happening? Protons are repelling each other, that means they are supposed to go away. But if you take the nuclear force, okay, they are attractive in nature. Okay, they are attractive in nature and depends on internuclear distance. They will depend on internuclear distance. Okay, next, your second important property of this nuclear force is they are charge independent. They are charge independent. Okay, so that means they do not depend upon the charge. Okay, so whether you take two protons, okay, you take a proton proton or neutron neutron, okay, neutron neutron, this force is same nuclear force, okay. So why means to explain this nuclear stability we need to obviously give some theory, right? So using these forces only we are explaining that, okay. Next, your next important point is, okay, these are short range forces, okay, these are short range forces, that means within the nucleus itself they will act, okay, not between the atoms or so, okay, they are short range, okay. So very small range, okay. And your next property is, okay, they decrease very quickly with distance between two nucleons, decrease very quickly, they'll decrease very quickly with distance between nucleons, okay. So if nucleons are separating, they'll decrease very rapidly, okay. So negligible, you can say negligible after 10 power minus 14 centimeter or so, beyond that they are negligible, okay. And very important point is they are spin dependent, okay. So you might have studied in chemistry spin angular momentum, you might have studied plus half minus half, you write it, right? So that thing, okay, clockwise anti-clockwise spin, okay, so it will decide the force, okay. So parallel spin, that means both are moving clockwise, strong, okay, strong bounding, okay. And anti-parallel spin, okay, anti-parallel spin, kind of weak force, okay, right. So these are your basic properties regarding your nuclear forces, okay, right. Come on, so this information is enough, okay. Then we'll further go ahead, okay. Come on, take screenshot. All right, now let me continue further. Your next idea is, okay, Yukawa's theory or Meson theory of nuclear forces. Okay, so I will explain lot of things. Don't worry. But first, I am giving only basic terms. Okay, in this lecture, we will first get to know what is nucleus, what is inside nucleus, what are the different terms that are used. Then we'll go to, for problem sake, whatever comes I'll do it separately, okay. For you to not to get confused, I'm sticking to the basics and then going slowly, okay. Don't worry, everything will be covered by the end of the chapter. In different books the sequence will be different. So now, first, okay, your Yukawa's theory, what it says is, okay, your proton interaction is what he is talking of, okay. So according to this, what it says is, okay, it is talking of force between two neighboring protons. You have a proton here, you have a proton here, okay. So what happens is, one proton will exchange meson with some other part, okay. So because of which these mesons, okay, one proton will give a meson, okay, and this proton will take it and then it will give one meson. So continuous exchange will happen between protons. So that is why, okay, they'll try to be stable is what Yukawa told, okay. But this exchange of particles is causing the stability is ultimately what he is trying to say. And similarly for neutron also, there is exchange. Okay, for neutron also there is an exchange of particles. So because of exchange, what will happen? A body, for example, if you have some body, suddenly it is giving out some light or some particle. To conserve momentum, it goes this way, then some other meson it will absorb, then it will once again start moving this way. Like this, your proton is ultimately becoming stable, is what they are trying to say. Okay, so continuous exchange of mesons between protons and neutrons is happening. Similarly, between proton and neutron also there is some exchange of particles. Okay, so between neutron and proton also there is exchange of particles, that is mesons. Okay, so pi meson, pi plus meson and pi minus mesons will be there. These particles are exchanging between them, which is causing this nuclear stability, is what Yukawa tried to explain. Okay, so this is just basic information, don't worry too much. Okay, right? So now, cut short, what Yukawa told is, okay, if two dogs, okay, are trying to catch a bone, okay, this side there is a dog and this side also there is a dog. Okay, this dog wants the bone, this dog also wants the bone, right? So it's not so easy for the bone to get separated. Okay, because both dogs are trying to catch the bone. Okay, this is called as dog bone analogy. Okay, so Yukawa gave this dog bone analogy to explain this proton proton neutron proton. This is your neutron proton neutron neutron interaction, and this is your neutron proton uh, I mean interaction. Okay, so this interaction he compared with dog bone analogy. Okay, so only that mesons this bone is the meson. Okay, this bone is the meson, and this dog and this dog are kind of neutrons and protons. Okay, this what he tried to explain for the nuclear forces. Okay, so within this short range, because of the exchange of mesons, okay, that mesons are actually holding together the nucleus, is what ultimately this Yukawa's theory tried to explain the explanation of nuclear forces. Okay, right? Any problem? Huh? Any doubts? All right. Now, next, I will continue further. Okay. So, next thing that you are supposed to know is your binding energy and mass energy equivalence. Okay. In this first video, I will concentrate only on the basic terms. Okay. So, your mass energy equivalence is what you are supposed to study. Okay. Now, okay, what is happening in this, I'll tell you. Okay, so according to Einstein, okay, according to Einstein, what he told was your mass and energy are equivalent. That means to destroy mass or to create mass, you need energy. Okay, mass can be converted into energy. Okay, mass can be converted into energy. This is what, okay, this is what who gave? Einstein gave. Okay, so he gave this famous relation of delta E is c square times delta m, but we are writing E is equal to mc square. Okay, where m is the mass, c is the speed of light. Okay, now why did this come and what is happening exactly here, in what context it is coming, I'll tell you. Okay, but he gave this here. In this term is energy, this term is mass, this is your speed of light, which is c is equal to 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. Okay, so this is what he gave. Okay, now what is this I'll tell you. Okay, so now if you have studied or if you have watched this series, okay, famous love story, what is it? Forget it. Now your annihilation, if you have got the word annihilation, okay, it is disappearance of matter. Okay, so that matter will disappear just to convert into energy. So this annihilation is converting this mass into energy. Okay, now if you take 1 kg and do the annihilation, okay, if you take 1 kg and do the annihilation, the amount of energy that you are going to get is, okay, mc square, that is 1 into 3 into 10 power 8 whole square. So you are going to get 9 into 10 power 16 joules. Okay, right, that is for 1 kg. And if you take 1 amu, okay, 1 amu, if you annihilate, okay, so if you take 1 kg mass, 1 kg mass, if you are converting into energy, that 1 kg mass, okay, converting mass into energy is only called as annihilation. So if you are converting this 1 kg mass into energy, 1 kg mass, if you destroy it and convert it into energy, you are going to get 1 into 3 into 10 power 8 whole square, that is 9 into 10 power 16 joules. Similarly, 1 amu, if you do the annihilation, it is m times c square. But what is 1 amu? 1.67 into 10 power minus 27. It is close to 1.67 into 3 into 10 power 8 whole square. So which will give you, okay, very important this relation, okay, it will give you 931.5 mega electron volt, where electron volt is the unit of energy and 1 electron volt is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joules. Okay, this relation is very important. Okay, so copy it down. So my point is, okay, conclusion is, from Einstein's mass energy equivalence, E is equal to mc square. If you take 1 kg mass, if you destroy it, you are going to get 9 into 10 power 16 joules. And if you take 1 amu, you are going to get your energy as 931.5 mega electron volt. Okay, mega means 10 power 6, mega word indicates 10 power 6, electron volt indicates 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joules. Okay, so very important. Okay, you must remember this, you must remember this at any cost. Okay, 1 amu gives energy of 931.5 mega electron volt. Okay, very 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 important. Okay, right, so this is your basic idea. Okay, this is your mass energy equivalence. Okay, from mass you can create energy, from energy you can create mass. Okay, right, to why this energy, mass and all, I'll tell you. Okay, to explain it better, we need the idea of mass defect. Okay, so let me continue. Okay, so your next idea is your mass defect. Okay, so what is this mass defect? I will tell you. Okay, so now if you take a nucleus, that nucleus is represented by symbol zxa. Okay, what is this? It is your symbol of nucleus. Okay, this is your symbol of nucleus. Okay, now this z contains protons, this A contains, okay, nucleons. Okay, that is your protons plus neutrons. Now what is this mass defect? I will tell you. Okay, now if you take this nucleus, okay, this is your nucleus. Now nucleus consists of what? Protons and neutrons. Now A minus Z times mass of neutron is total mass of neutrons. Total mass of neutrons. Z times mass of proton is total mass of protons. Okay. Now logically your nucleus consists of neutrons and protons. Now if there was no mass loss, this A minus Z times mass of proton plus Z times mass of proton must be equal to ZXA mass of nucleus. This is mass of nucleus. Okay. So if there was no mass loss, okay, if there was no mass loss, okay, this equation must hold, okay, this equation must hold if there was no mass loss. But in reality this equation is incorrect. This equation must hold if there was no mass. In reality this equation is incorrect, and this mass defect equation is nucleon's mass minus mass of nucleus, and it is greater than 0. Okay, in fact it is more compared to the nucleus. Now let me continue further. Okay, so I have told you that, okay, I have told you that your mass defect delta m is Z times mass of proton plus A minus Z times mass of neutron minus, okay, mass of nucleus is mzxa. This is what I have told you. Now, okay, this is known to you, fine, but okay, what happened to this mass? Okay, next important question is like this: where did this mass go? Okay, where did this mass go? Where did this mass go? Okay, automatically any person who is having some common sense will get a doubt. Okay, where did this mass go? Now for this, okay, for this, what is the explanation that is given is, okay, your your mass, okay, mass that is lost, okay, mass that is lost, that means indirectly I am referring to mass defect, is getting converted into energy, is getting converted into energy. Okay, what energy it is called means, it is called as binding energy, it is called as binding energy. Okay, it is called as binding energy. Okay, so what it will do is, okay, what is your binding energy means? Binding energy is energy that is used to bind the nucleons together, energy that is used to bind the nucleons together, okay, to bring all these to one place and form this nuclear mass. Okay, we obviously need to have energy, okay, to bring all these nucleons together and bind them together. Obviously we need energy, so that energy is your binding energy. So your mass defect will get converted into binding energy. So what is your definition of binding energy? I have given it. So your binding energy formula is, your binding energy is mass defect into c square. Okay, Very very important, this relation that I have written here, very 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 important. Mass defect equation, binding energy equation, very very important. Okay, now your ultimate, okay, ultimate factor for stability is binding energy per nucleon. Okay, ultimate factor. Okay, there will be like 4n series you will study in chemistry, I'll come to that part later. But okay, ultimate factor for nuclear stability is, ultimate factor for nuclear stability is, nuclear stability is, okay, binding energy per nucleon. Okay, binding energy by per nucleon. Okay, binding energy per nucleon is ultimate factor for stability. Okay, so binding energy per nucleon is the ultimate factor for stability. Okay, binding energy per nucleon is the ultimate factor. Okay, more binding energy per nucleon, more stable. More binding energy per nucleon, more stability. Okay, and another important term that you get in the books is your packing fraction is, okay, mass defect by A. Your binding energy per nucleon, it will become what? Be by A. Okay, Be by A. Packing fraction is mass defect by A. Okay, so it is represented by symbol F. Okay, these terms if you get, please do not get confused. Okay, right? So binding energy per nucleon. Okay, right? So with this, your introduction of different terms is done. Okay, in the next class we'll see some basic ideas using this, but first I need to explain radioactivity to talk about this. So let me write summary of what all you have learnt in this unit. Okay, so the summary is in the introduction. Okay, your mass of proton, charge, mass of neutron, charge 0. Okay, charge is 0. Mass of neutron is slightly greater than mass of neutron. Mass of electron, charge of electron, mass of proton by mass of electron is close to 1840, 1837 or 1840. Next, second, your radius of nucleus is given by r equal to r naught times a power 1 by 3, where your r naught value is 1.1 Fermi, which is 1.1 into 10 power minus 15 meters. A is mass number, and your nucleus is represented by symbol ZXA. This indicates this is your atomic number, which is your number of protons. A is mass number, which is number of nucleons. A minus Z will give you number of neutrons. Then followed by your atomic mass unit 1 by U is 1.660. Okay, 1.660, it is 1/12 of mass of carbon atom. So how much we are getting? 1.660, I just forgot. 1.66056 into 10 power minus 27 kg. And then your mass energy is mass times c square. 1 kg of mass has energy of 9 into 10 power 16 joules. 1 AMU has energy of 931.5 mega electron volt. Mega word indicates 10 power 6. 1 electron volt indicate 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joules. Okay, right, take screenshot of this part. Next I'll continue further. So your next term is your next sixth is your mass defect delta m is for a nucleus ZXA. How to write the mass defect means Z times mass of proton plus A minus see what I wrote, okay, ZXA. So A minus Z times mass of neutron minus mass of ZXA nucleus. This is your table for mass defect. And then what else I have written? Your binding energy is mass defect into C square, okay, and your binding energy per nucleon, okay, binding energy is not the cause of stability, but binding energy by A, that is binding energy per nucleon is more. So E is equal to mc square. Then your mass defect is given by, your mass defect is what we have seen next. So 5 is done. So your mass defect is A minus Z times mass of neutron plus Z times mass of proton minus mass of nucleus is ZXA, okay, and then your binding energy is mass defect into C square, and binding energy is not the reason for stability. Don't think that your more binding energy will cause more stability, but binding energy by A, which is nothing but binding energy per nucleon, is the cause of stability, then your packing fraction, if it is asked, it is mass defect by mass number, okay. So this is your basic introduction about the nucleus, and these are the different relations that we have seen in today's lecture, okay. Now we will see tomorrow something important, that is your radioactivity, okay. So from that, okay, you will start entering slowly into the subject. Based on these basic questions I could actually give you, and in fact we can solve some basic questions. So we will do that and then mostly we will continue, but I just want to explain radioactivity first rather than doing mass defect, because mass defect is more of kind of related to equations, okay. So to know the equations you need radioactivity, so that is why we will do first radioactivity and then come back to this part, okay. Reasoning justification will come from this only, so that is why I have done this, okay. That's all for today. Thank you.